there we go again. Hey everybody, it's Wacko Bob here, and I'm here today to do a little more of doing a little more of another request I've constantly gotten on my Twitter account and whatnot, and especially, and I always get these questions, especially on Facebook, especially when I do Facebook Live. I figured I'd do this on YouTube and then just throw this on my Facebook here instead of trying to do a Facebook Live. Before I do that, I do want to make mention of Nucleus. A lot of people have been asking me what's going on with this Nucleus streaming system that's supposed to replace cable. It is a whole new system, and I am going to get the 800 number and whatnot, and you're going to start to see tags on that here on both YouTube and on whenever I do my Facebooks and whatnot too. So I do encourage people to check that out. I'll talk more about Nucleus. It has a lot more to do with my network, and we'll get more into that. But I was given this question constantly, and some people try to ask me in different ways, and ways it's the same question, and I really have refused to really jump on this one right away. And some people who've known me and have known me for the last 10 years of me doing radio basically know that basically know where I'm know me and want to call me the hypocrite and whatnot, but and in some cases they can be right, and I'm going to admit to that, but I'm also going to admit to some other things as well too, where this goes. It has to do with what are my thoughts on Donald Trump. Now, I've refused to go on this here, and we're talking now about his presidency, and Donald Trump is not even up to finished his second month as the president, as a lot of people know. He got sworn in on January 20th. And of course, he did whatever that first day, but after that he went right to work. So a lot of things have been asked about me with this one. So a lot of them are the same questions. What do I think he's doing? And a lot of people ask me this. Some of them are even the conservatives that were behind Donald Trump too, and whatnot on this one, because a lot of people know I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton either. I did not vote for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein either. I literally wrote in my own candidate, just so people know that. Yes, the secret's out, but it's been out for a while. Yes, I was a backer of. I originally started out as a backer of Ben Carson. Then when Ben Carson's campaign started to get weak, I didn't know where else to go. A lot of people I knew were sticking by Ben Carson, like Chuck Skull, before it was all said and done. Chuck Skull didn't say who he was going to get behind after that. And I'm not even Republican either, so that tells you a lot there. I'm registered NPA, no party affiliation, so people understand that. Now, I know I'm babbling here and I'm getting into it here, but I really want to bring the point across. Yes, after a while I did finally and basically stuck behind who I thought would be the best, especially at getting our constitutional rights amended and back to us the way it ought to be, which was of course Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, I thought, had the strongest campaign. And I think if anyone really was going to come through for us by any stretch of the imagination, it's Ted Cruz. Like I said, I'm not a Republican. A lot of people want to say that I am conservative. There are some people that are trying to loophole it and say, well, you really are conservative because this is the way the conservatives think. No, it's not. There are some things that liberals back that I get into, but the real question is, how do I feel about Donald Trump? A lot of this isn't going to be popular. A lot of it isn't. But, I'm going to say this. Economically, I think Donald Trump is going to do great for this country. He's already at work doing it right now, as far as the economics go. And to be fair about this, and like I said, I am getting into this, instead of our industries going overseas, he's getting them back over here, which is what needed to happen. Obama was pretty much always selling our industry overseas. And if you ever look at Obama, our economy did not get any better in the 8 years that he was president. In fact, we took a big hit with the economy, even when you look at the fact that Bush was going to have the toughest time when he got into his second term, because that's when the Democrats really started to abuse the filibuster, when the filibuster was still there, to where they got to take over the Senate and House with your Speaker of the House being Nancy Pelosi. Now, of course, a lot of people call her Nazi Pelosi. I also think we're fooled by Bush too. I don't want anyone to misunderstand anything there. I think aside from 9/11 and really making sure we were not under martial law after 9/11, I think Bush was great. I think she exemplified his leadership very good there. But there were some things that happened, and of course, our economy faltered when things are really starting to change for the Democrats, and it really was starting to falter when Obama got elected, and we had a still Democrat-controlled Senate and House, and things like Obamacare got passed. Now, that's the other thing to Obamacare. I think repealing Obamacare is going to be the right thing to do, and a lot of people are really looking at conservatives, especially the liberals, stating that the Republicans are saying health care should not be considered a luxury. Now, just so people don't misunderstand this, and I know J. Anthony Frankie put something up, who's a friend on Facebook. A lot of people know him for being Jake Summers on California Dreams. And I corrected something here, because the politicians, period, are acting as if we're going to treat healthcare like it's a luxury. And what are they doing? They're taking money away to put it into political agendas, to do the politically correct thing, which is taking money that would normally go to health and welfare out of the country, or putting it in their own pockets with per diems and with with high salaries that are six and especially in California with seven figures. California has Medi-Cal. Look what they've done to people there. If Michael Porter were still alive, he could tell you. So Donald Trump, I think, has that ability. He's repealing Obamacare, which I think needs to be repealed. I think you need to get back to our healthcare system the way it was meant to be, not the way it was, but the way it was meant to be, to where it's going to get to the right people and the money is not going to be abused. The tax money. I'm not against being a taxpayer. I'm against the way the money is being used. Now, you need to cut back on these politicians' salary, and Trump says he'll do that. Trump is not even accepting a salary. He's probably only using per diems the way they're meant to be used, and it's not a daily per diem. A lot of these people have per diems that are $500 and $600 a day that are on the local end of politics, especially in California. So I look at that, and I look at healthcare. Obamacare has to be repealed. You got to get people off of these benefits that really don't need them. We don't need to be giving them to illegals. We don't need to be giving them to. We don't need to be giving it to people who have jobs and should be able to put together their own resources, who are capable of working. Yes, there are people who have disabilities that need it a lot more, and too many people I know have had their disability, their food stamps, cut back with the way they're just giving it away to some people even more than others. And certain races get to get a lot more and get it a lot faster, almost as if they have it under in their desk, and that's wrong too. We're not going to compare racism, because this isn't about racism either. This is about how Trump is doing. And Trump wants to get rid of a lot of this. 3 people were about getting it right with health care and with welfare, period. 3 people were. And believe it or not, one of them was Donald Trump. Ben Carson was another one. Ben Carson was another one who said that, especially came down on his own race where that goes, saying that they just can't expect handouts. Government handouts have to stop. And the ones who are going to get it should be the ones who really can't do it. That really can't do it, that you're going to take care of them. Should there be a health care package for everybody? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look what they're doing to the senior citizens who spent their lives paying into things like Medicare and paying into things like that, paying into their own Social Security. who spent their lives paying into it, and in some cases still do. You need to revise that. You need to get it right. You got to get people off of it who don't need it. You need to bring money back into this country, and that's another thing in economics where Donald Trump is right. Now, so I'm going to give Donald Trump his accolades for that. And he's still in the process of doing it. Nothing really has been done yet, but he's in the process of it. And with Trump in there right now, you really got a shot. And in 2 years, when you have the midterm elections, if you get a more well-balanced Congress, Senate and House, let's just call it like it is, I think you could see some real agreements made that need to be made economically, and that's where Trump can come in. Now, that's the plus side of Trump. The negative side of Trump. My concern with Trump is how one thing he campaigned against everyone on, and there were a few people he really couldn't campaign against on that really could debate him, in which this is where I have my problem with Trump, because Trump really, really stomped people to the ground, in almost an uncivilized manner. And that is foreign policy. Obama wanted to make allies out of enemies, and was really starting to make enemies out of our allies. Trump could scare a lot of people with this one, with what he's already doing. With his ban on country, 7 different countries coming in that were Muslim countries, excuse me. And that's wrong. Now, he's only choosing 7. You got Muslims everywhere. You really got Muslim extremists everywhere. Do we want to get rid of the Muslim extremism? Absolutely. Now, I know you got to start in your own. We got to start in our own land, our own country first. And that's the big thing. And that was a big thing with John McCain when he was running. He was about country first. Now, should there be a lot more control? Should there be a lot more screening done? Should there be a lot more checking done? Absolutely. Absolutely there should be. I don't blame Trump where that goes. But has he gone too far to an extreme to do this? The right way to handle security, believe it or not, was the way Bush was doing it. Was the way Bush started doing it after 9/11. Obama undid that. Trump is bringing it back, but has taken it too far to an extreme. He's really not looking at the countries that are supposed to be our allies and the ones that are supposed to be our enemies. And he can make too many enemies for us with the extremism that he'll use. And this is a big thing. This is a big thing that I worry about with Donald Trump, is that part of it. He also has a social issue. With certain people in their place. And I'm not talking about different races. I'm talking more along the lines of sexism with what he could do to women. Now, women empowerment, the liberal belief of that is even wrong too. I really look at the whole Lilly Ledbetter pay plan thing more as a showboat thing, because there are a lot of women that do a lot better than men in companies. And I'll give you a certain example of one that's not so big. I worked for Subway. For a while, and the chain of Subways was owned by a guy named Charlie Sarabian. And I don't know how much Charlie Sarabian knew about this, and I'm not going to destroy him. I really apologize for mentioning his name. I'm not going to destroy him, but the one I worked for the district manager, most women got paid better than men, stating that they're women, they're more vulnerable, they're more emotional. And we really need to pay them to make sure that they stick around. We got to pay them more. And that's what was happening. There were a lot of guys there that were making it. I was a part of Subway and with a title that really I only seemed to have as the night manager there, which I wasn't a manager there, and I knew that. And they were paying me significantly less money than they would pay a woman. And that type of thing goes on a lot in the world. And granted, I'm going back to 1996 when I say that. But again, this is what was going on back during those days. So that's how much I didn't like Lilly Ledbetter. Obama wants to take it and say that women do have a place, blah blah blah, and everything, And I remember talking to people like Ron Paul Girl Brooke, who agrees that women are more emotional than men, and women should be more at home, taking care of the things the men provide. And I don't agree with that either. It's partially true, but not totally true. Women have a right to work and have a right to do everything too. And that part I worry about with Obama. He has a thing where women go. I mean, granted, he's got someone that it did start her career in politics in Linda McMahon, who's now helping to handle the small businesses in his cabinet and whatnot. So I mean, I don't want to make it out to be like that, but let's not look at some of the accomplishments of some of the leaders that are, especially in this country, that are women. I mean, I'm not going to really put Sarah Palin over as much, but I will take someone like Condoleezza Rice, and look what she did as both Attorney General then Secretary of State. So I will do that. Sarah Palin, she is a strong woman. I mean, she's looked at as the soccer mom or the hockey mom or whatever they want to call that. But Sarah Palin, a lot of people have really do have a tough time with Sarah Palin. And I could bring up a lot of strong women here. Hell, I could talk about my mother for all you know. I mean, my mother, it took my mother a while to get a backbone and a stronger mind for what she needed to do, given the fact that she spent a lot of her time as a single mother. So I really got a problem there, and I mean, there's a lot of people that really want to say how Donald Trump is going to look at this. So I mean, you got to look at that. The other thing that I do want to bring up here with him is a lot of people are going to look at him with social issues, like the gay agenda and whatnot, and especially that one. That's become the cool trend. And how he feels about that one. Is the Marriage Equality Act crazy and immoral in my eyes? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not for it. I do take up issues with the conservatives and how they want to exclude a lot of the gays out of things, and that's wrong. I was not that happy about seeing Bill Clinton elected, but I have to admit some of the things Bill Clinton did was very good, and that I agreed with. I mean, one of them was, of course, with gays in the military, that making sure that they got a fair shot too. I think that Don't Ask, Don't Tell was probably the best thing that ever happened, because I think sexual preference is none of the recruiter's business. So I was there for that one. Now, to bring this thing home so people understand where I'm going with all this, is I think gays have a right to serve. I think gays have a right to own business. I think gays have a right to a lot of things. However, there are a lot of dysfunctions that go into gay adoption, gay marriage, and whatnot that really hurt the kids, and especially for a lot of people who want to pick adoption over abortion, which I'm against abortion. I am very pro-life. If we want to talk about something I'm 100% behind conservatives on, I am all about human life being saved, and that's a big thing with me. However, I also got a liberal side of it too, which of course goes against the stuff like the death sentence. I don't care how big the criminal is. I don't think government should have a right to choose who lives and dies just as much as killers, pretty much choose to kill. That's one of my big things. A lot of people were saying, I'm for the death sentence as long as it's a lethal injection because it's very inhumane, and it's turning out that that's not true. So do life in prison. Let them spend the rest of their lives in jail. I don't care if they're gonna be there for another 80 years of their lives or only another 15 to 20 years of their life. Do that. Do that to uphold the law. So I mean, so there you go there. But am I for marriage equality? I'm for marriage the way it was meant to be since the beginning of time. It's supposed to be between a man and a woman. I'm not going for anything else. That whole rainbow thing that went on a couple of years ago, I didn't like that. Matter of fact, I made a point of making an announcement about that. I wasn't big on that. A lot of people see me joke around on my radio show acting like the gay guy, blah, blah, blah. But, that's what it was. And another thing about gays, and this is something people don't know, is my mother had a gay cousin named Tommy. Unfortunately, he passed away due to throat cancer. But he was extremely gay. However, he was one of those gay people that did not go around marching in pride parades or anything. He just simply lived his life. So this goes to show you where the political side of it is what really got that all started. And that's the type of thing that creates enemies out of people and creates hate. So politics needs to stop that. Donald Trump is going to the extreme right of this whole thing now, to where it's just you're going to see a lot more hate. And that's the type of thing I talk about with social issues when it comes to this country with the politics of racism and whatnot and prejudice there. Donald Trump's extreme is going to go to the other side and is going to create a massive hate, just like it is with a foreign policy that he's going to create. I don't think he's going to be careful enough. I think he needs to make sure we have our proper allies, know who our proper enemies are, and then try to create a working environment with it all to try to get it taken care of. This is the reason why I was also for a Ted Cruz being our president. Ted Cruz would have been good. Ben Carson would have been good. A lot of people want to say John Kasich would have been another one who would have been good for that one. I don't know enough about John Kasich to really talk about that. If anyone really probably could have been, someone who really, I think, really could have handled it, and I think people really didn't think he knew as much about foreign policy, and this is where I'm going to get to really bring this home. People talk about having business. They're all about the businessman running things. Why 4 years earlier did the Republicans and the people really not get behind Herman Cain, especially when he became the front runner and the bogus complaints were made against him? I think if anyone knows business and knows how to do things properly and knows how to get things done right on a social manner, it would have been Herman Cain. I was very upset 4 years ago. It was tough for me to get behind anybody after Herman Cain had bowed out after all the bogus complaints. And I think it was Democrats and Republicans doing it. They didn't want someone who was not establishment in there. But now they got someone in there in Donald Trump, and it's the wrong guy to get behind. Sarah Palin, I know, loved Herman Cain, but where was she when all that was going on? Where was the Tea Party? Where were the Republicans? Where were those people, period, that were going to be fair? And you don't have to be Republican or Tea Party or conservative for that. You could be a liberal Democrat. How about treating things fairly like you should have? If this thing was bogus, come out and say it. Stop with the defamation of character and whatnot. I mean, he was forced to get out because no one really backed him, not even the Christians. And I'll tell you, Herman Cain's a God-fearing man. That's who should be our president. He should have been winning his second term as president. Because if you want to get things back to the way it needs to be in this country, then you want a Herman Cain doing it. That's what you want. You want someone who's going to listen to the people, but not and also take into consideration the people. Not that he's listening to the people and majority wins. He's got to do what's best for this country and realize it's got to be about what's going to be fair and right. And that's Herman Cain. I don't know if Donald Trump can be fair and right. And in its fairness, I can't say that. But on a social level, I think Donald Trump he scares me. He scares me as a president. That's why I couldn't vote for him. As far as how he's going to do on the fiscal side, the economic side, I think Donald Trump's going to be great. I think Donald Trump is going to be great, but he has to worry about who he's going to turn into enemies. especially within our own country. And that's where I worry about it with Donald Trump. Everyone wanted the businessman. If you wanted the businessman, you would have been better off going with a guy who has more success stories than anything else, and Herman Cain. Because I think Herman Cain would have been just like Ronald Reagan, only economically stronger than Reagan was, and stronger economically than Reagan was in every other avenue that Reagan was able to deal with. I think I think our economy will bounce back. I think it will bounce back. I think Trump is going to try and work things out for the long term, even if he's not going to be the president after 4 years or 8 years. But after that, we got to worry. We got to worry. And even during that time, when it comes down to it socially with Donald Trump. And that's all I'm going to say there. I'm not going to go any further than that. But that's how it is with Donald Trump. And that, again, this is what I worry about the most with him as our president. All right, that's been my show. That's been my special. And I will come back more, maybe over the weekend with some more stuff. Don't forget to check out Wacko in the Morning. It's going to be going on with Chuck Skull. And I want to thank everyone once again. I'm going to get in touch with my family, mainly my sisters Jen and Andrea. Also going to talk with Valentina. Should talk with Valentina more, but I love all three of them. My sisters are great. Family's great. My mother's great too. And my brother, I got him. He's one of the girls too. Just kidding. But I do want to thank everyone there. And with that being said, do with it what you want. Criticize me in any possible way. I don't care. I'm Wacko Bob. And that's been my show. Thank you.